Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. So in this video here, we're going to be talking about the Golden Horde. This is a new variant civilization that's going to be released in the upcoming DLC. It is going to be mirrored around Mongols, so we're going to be using Mongols as a basis for comparison. We're going to look at what's different, what's similar, and then we're also going to take a much deeper approach. We're going to look at the units, we're going to look at the resource mechanics. So I hope you guys just stay tuned and we're going to get started. So let's just get the really quick things out of the way. Here are the two charts that summarize the civilization bonuses. On the right we have the Mongols and on the left we have the Golden Horde. To make it easy, I have a little chart at the bottom right here. So if you look at the bottom, it tells you in blue what the Mongols have but the Golden Horde doesn't. The yellow is what the Golden Horde has but the Mongols don't. And the gray is what's the same between the both civilizations. Now the Golden Horde units are recruited in batches. What that means is if you want to recruit a horseman, for example, you would pay double the price, but then you would be able to get them two at a time, right? Same thing with villagers. You would pay 100 resources for 2 villagers. Now the difference here is that actually in batches, sometimes it's optimal, sometimes it's not. For example, with villagers, you're going to get 2 villagers made in 37 seconds, whereas with Mongols, you would have 2 villagers, it would take 40 seconds. There are going to be a lot of trade-offs because if you get villagers in 37 seconds, that means one villager is losing 17 seconds of gather rate, right? So a lot of things to consider, but basically that's what it is. Now, the Golden Horde also uses stockyards. This is going to be replacing pastures of the Mongols. If you guys remember, Mongols make pastures, the pastures produce sheep, and then the villagers gather the sheep from those pastures. So that's all changed. You're going to take 4 villagers, you're going to put them in a stockyard, and they're going to gather food for you from then on forward. Another thing the Golden Horde has is you can make multiple uvus, and all of these uvus will be able to gather stone for you. Not only that, once the stone is fully depleted on the mine itself, the uvu continuously gathers stone. So it's actually a lot easier than the Mongol mechanic. But we're going to talk about that because the gather rate has changed, I believe. The Golden Horde has a ton of unique technologies and these cost stone only. Whereas the Mongols, you had technologies, but they were only enhanced, right? The enhanced version of those technologies. Another thing with the Golden Horde is you're aging up using the Golden Tent. This is similar to Abbasid and Ayyubid. It has its pros, it has its cons, and we're going to talk about that later. The Golden Horde also has aura bonuses that are based around the outpost rather than the uvu. So if you guys remember with Mongols, if you build a building near an uvu, you can get double the rate of production, right? With the Golden Horde, you're going to be building around your outposts, not around your uvus. Once again, I think these mechanics are a lot easier than the Mongol ones. Now what the Mongols have that the Golden Horde doesn't is that you get packed buildings, and these packed buildings can move around freely. Now there's a lot of pros to this, but there's also a lot of cons to this too. But that's something that they have that the Golden Horde doesn't. The aura bonuses, as we talked about, they're based around the uvu. The Khan, this is a big one. The Khan is pre-built for the Mongols and it keeps on respawning every time the Khan is destroyed or killed in action. Whereas the Golden Horde, if the Khan is killed, you have to remake it and you have to pay money for it. And you also have to pay money to get the Khan in the first place. The Khan's mechanics are completely different in the Golden Horde as they compared to the Mongols. Another thing the Mongols have is you get plunder. So if you put a building ablaze, you're able to get resources out of it. It's a really cool mechanic. Now the Mongols also have the Yam network, which the outpost can actually speed up units in the vicinity of your building or your towers rather, which as the Golden Horde doesn't get that. The Mongols have double produce as well, but this one they use stone, which is a huge bonus, right? The Golden Horde, you're producing in batches, but the Mongols, you can get double the production, but you're going to be using stone as a result. And as I said, the enhanced technologies all use stone for the Mongols, whereas the Golden Horde have unique technologies per se. That's not to say the Mongols don't have unique technologies, but the Golden Horde has a very different level of uniqueness. Now, what's the same? They both start with maximum populations. You don't need to build houses, which is cool. Stables are both available in H1. Silk Road is available to both, and the transport ship bonus is available to both. So that's the basic overview between the two civilizations, and now let's get a little bit deeper. Alright, so when it comes to the uvu for the Golden Horde, it's a little bit different. Firstly, The one thing that the Mongol Uvu had that the Golden Horde one doesn't have is it's scaled by age. So depending on which age you're in, the Uvu would return a different amount of stone, which I'll show you a chart in just a second. The other thing is when the Uvu for the Mongols depleted itself, for example, once the stone runs out, you can no longer gather resources from it. It's just going to be a useless building. The Golden Horde Uvu, once the stone runs out, it still gathers resources for you. So it's a little bit better in that regard. The other thing is the Mongol Uvu is limited to 1. The Golden Horde Uvu, you can go +1 on each age up. So you can have 4, right? The other thing is the Golden Horde Uvu, if you want to increase the gather rate, you have to get the technologies, which I'm going to show you in just a second. So if we look right here at this Excel spreadsheet, you can see that the Golden Horde Uvu initially starts off with 60, but then you can go up to 78 if you get the first technology. You can get up to 100 if you get the next technology after that. And then if you get the landmark bonus, you're going to get an extra 20% on top of that as well. So it scales up based on technology and landmarks, whereas the Mongol Uvu was a little bit easier, which it just scaled up based on age. So with the Golden Horde, in order for you to get food after the food has run out on the map, instead of making farms, instead of making pastures, you're going to be making stockyards. Now you can put 4 villagers in a stockyard and it's going to gather technically sheep, and it's going to be instantaneous. There's no drop-off time, right? So this is a big pro. And another big pro is the fact that it's cheap, right? 250 wood. If you think about it, if you're playing most civilizations, a farm is about 75 resources, right? And if you're going to have 4 villagers on the farm, that's going to be 300 resources. So here you get a stockyard, which is essentially 4 villagers worth of farms for 250 resources. It's a pro in terms of the fact that you also don't have any drop-off points. It's pretty good in that regard as well. And then when it comes to the gather rate, and I'm just going to slip in this other sheet right here, a traditional farm, you'll get about 36 or so food per minute, whereas a sheep, you get 41. So right off the bat, it's better than the traditional farm. You get 2 different eco bonuses for this, which is going to be rotation grazing, which is going to give you an extra 10%, and then you're going to get overgrazing, which is another 10%. The unique thing about this is it costs stone, not wood and gold to get this. So it could be a pro in some ways, and maybe it's a con in other ways as well, but just an FYI for you to know. Now this is something we're going to talk about later on, but you can also get gold gathering from a stockyard later on in the game, because you can get the stockyard edict, which is in front of me right here. And when this is active, the stockyards will produce gold at the same time as producing food. It's going to be like passive gold. It's similar to how the English work with their farms and enclosures, but yeah, we're going to talk about that later. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the fortified outposts. This is how the Golden Horde is able to get most of its benefits. It has an aura around this outpost. If you put buildings there, or if units are coming out nearby, it's able to buff them in certain ways, whether it be production, HP. There's a lot of cool things we're going to talk about later on, but this is the building that's able to do it. The building also acts as a regular outpost. It has the same thing. You can put arrow slits, you can put springolds, you can do all that sort of thing, right? And it also has way more HP. It's about 1,000 extra HP over a regular outpost. The only difference here, though, is it costs almost double as well. It's 150 wood and 50 stone to get this building. However, you absolutely need to get this in order for this civilization to work and for you to do well. All right, so let's talk about one of the main bonuses for the Golden Horde, which is their edicts. The edicts can be given to you at the Golden Tent. This is similar to the Abysin and Ayubid's House of Wisdom. It's a little bit different though, because you can actually build units from here. So you can see you can build the Khan right here. You can build a Torgud, which is a very good unit as well, right here. You can call in mercenaries if you're ever in trouble, if you're ever being raided. You call these guys in and they can help you out. And then there's the debuff arrow that you can also use, which costs 300 stone. So a little bit different than the Houses of Wisdom, but what's similar is that they all advance through this, right? You can see on the right hand side, these are all your age up options, which we're going to talk about later on as well. But the thing that we really want to talk about is the edicts. Okay, so let's talk about them one by one. The first one is the production speed edict. So if you were to use this, anything around the Golden Horde, the fortified outpost is going to be a little bit faster in terms of training time. So if I were to build the spearman near the fortified outpost, it's going to take 25 seconds to produce. And if I was to build it outside of the fortified outpost, it would take 30 seconds, right? So it's a 20% reduction. Another one is the defensive aura edict. What this means is if you are within this circle right here, which is a very, very large circle, your units are going to get an extra 10% HP, right? So if you're in the circle, you get 10% extra HP. If you're outside of the circle, you get nothing. So extremely important if you're going to be if you're being attacked, make sure you guys cast this immediately, right? Then the next one is you can unlock the Karash edict, which is, this one is a really interesting one because if you click this, right, and you research it, anytime a unit is produced from a building near the fortified outpost, so let's say that I'm building a spearman, I'm going to get a Karash as well. So let me just activate this right here. You can see now I get an extra unit absolutely free, which is the Karash. Not an expensive, not a great unit, but technically free. So it's like cannon fodder, as to say, right? 3 units, right, for the price of 2. So this is an awesome edict right here. And the last and final edict is the Stockyard edict. So if I get the Stockyard edict and I build a stockyard near the fortified outpost, I'm generating gold at the same time as I'm generating food. I believe it's about 40 gold per minute. Let me show you guys right here. It says 10, but it's going to ramp up to 40 a minute. So you put these stockyards around your fortified outpost and you can get 40 gold additional per stockyard a minute. And I believe that's all the edicts for now. Alright, so another main bonus of the Golden Horde is they get this technology, which is Glorious Charge, which is a really cool technology. You can get this from the fortified outpost. It costs 400 stone. And once you get it and you click it, it starts a timer. You can see it's waning down right here, 10 seconds. After which you'll get 50% movement speed on all your units and take minus 15% less damage for 30 seconds. However, if you guys see right here, this horseman has 2.81 speed and this one has 1.88. And the reason for that is this one was within the aura of the tower. You have to be within the aura of the tower to get this bonus. You can see how absolutely massive this is because this is a huge speed bonus, right? And you're going to get it for about 9 more seconds, but it's 30 seconds in total. It's really, really good, and I would consider you to use this offensively and defensively. So for example, let's say you're pushing in your opponent. You can make this fortified outpost in the middle of the map, and then you can use this ability, and then you can attack your opponent from there on onwards. Because it's not only movement speed that you get, you also take 15% less damage for 30 seconds. So this is critical that you are able to use this to its fullest. Alright, let's start doing the fun stuff now. Let's look at the new units. For the Golden Horde, there's 3 main units, or 4 main units, right? We got the Batu Khan, the Turgud, the Karash, and the Kipchak Archer. The Batu Khan is your Khan, but it's heavily armored. It's a heavy melee cavalry. It's melee, so it's not ranged like the other Khan that we have in the game. We got the Turgud. It's also heavy melee cavalry. These are like your Khan's defenders. If something is attacking your Khan, let's say there's archers attacking your Khan, the Turgud are going to be able to soak up that damage. It redirects to the Turgud as long as they're nearby. So I can see a lot of different strategies already in the making for this. We got the Karash, which is a very low HP unit, maybe a little bit lower HP. It's just cannon fodder. Let's just put it that way. And we got the Kipchak Archer, which is like your horse archers, all right? So I think in order to do a proper comparison, let's compare the Batu Khan to an early knight. Let's compare the Turgud to an early knight. Let's compare the Karash to a spearman, and the Kipchak Archer will compare him to a horse archer. So let's start off with Batu Khan, and let's go and compare it to an early knight. So they're both heavy melee cavalry, right? The Batu Khan costs 140 resources. It costs 140 stone rather, which is huge. This is actually a benefit. And the early knight is 240 resources, 140 food and 100 gold. Okay, they both have 3 armor apiece. However, the early knight has 19 attack, whereas the Batu Khan has 10 attack. Right, so it's much lower in the attack department. In terms of attack speed, it's better for Batu Khan, but damage per second overall, the knight still wins by a significant margin. Right. In movement speed, they're the same. HP per cost, you can see it's significantly better actually for the Batu Khan, and that's because it's so cheap, right? Way better HP per cost, but DPS per cost, the early knight still has it. Now the Batu Khan has a bonus here, Warcry, which gives plus 10% damage and an additional 10% damage each age. So when the Khan's in battle, it's just going to keep on doing this automatically, right? Now let's do another thing. Let's compare the Torgud. All right, so we got the Torgud early knight. Cost-wise, the Torgud is significantly cheaper, and it's a lot of stone, which is a bonus once again. HP-wise, Torgud is much higher than the early knight. Armor, they're the same. However, it once again falls off in the attack department. The early knights have way more attack, right? And then if we go down here to the HP per cost, you can kind of see this is it's same story as the Batu Khan, and DPS per cost, it's the same story as well, right? So these are very tanky units. They're very good for their cost in terms of HP, but not so much when it comes to damage. Okay, so now let's look at the Karash and let's compare the Karash to a Spearman. All right, so we got Karash is way cheaper, 50 resources versus 80, right? They both don't have any armor. The Karash has 6 attack, whereas the Spearman has 7, so a little bit better for the Spearman there. Attack speed is way better for the Karash, so when it comes to DPS, the Karash actually has higher DPS than the Spearman. However, Karash has no bonus, right? It doesn't do anything additional to cavalry. In terms of range, it's the same. Movement speed, slower for the Karash, 1.12. HP per cost, the same. And DPS per cost, it's way better for the Karash, right? Now, this is the main thing with the Karash, and what reason you want to have some in your army is it gives +1 armor to all units nearby, right? So pretty much free armor to all of your units for very little in cost. 100 resources for 2, really cheap. Okay, so Karash is a great unit, I think, overall. Just want to mix them in just for a little bit of cannon fodder and a little bit of extra armor for your units. Now let's look at the Kipchak Archer. And let's compare the Kipchak Archer to the Horse Archer. And before I even say anything, we all know the Horse Archer is doing very well right now. It's one of the strongest units in the game. So I would assume that the Horse Archer wins. If we look right off the bat in terms of cost, the Horse Archer is cheaper. The Kipchak Archer is 150 versus 120. If we look in terms of HP, the Kipchak Archer is 105 versus 85, so more survivability there for the Kipchak Archer. In terms of attack, the Horse Archer is better again, 12 versus 10. DPS, once again, Horse Archer is better. Range is the same, speed is the same. HP per cost is almost the same. DPS per cost, the Horse Archer wins. Now, the Kipchak Archer has a bleed. So every time it attacks a unit, it does 2 damage a second or so. It doesn't stack, so this is one thing to know. You want to spread out your damage with the Kipchak Archer. But there's a really amazing technology, and I feel like this technology is going to be borderline broken once people start using it. It gives you double the amount of arrows, or more than double the amount of arrows. It gives you 2 extra arrows for every shot you take. So something we're going to talk about in the next section. But Kipchak Archer, a little worse than a Horse Archer, but it has potential with an additional upgrade. All right, so let's look at the different types of age ups you can have and their bonuses, right? So for age 2, you can go with Khan and Torguds. This is going to reduce the stone cost of the Khan and the Torguds by 20% and increase their health by 30, plus 30. Sorry. So you guys remember, I just showed you guys how good they are HP per cost, and this is going to make them even better. I love this landmark right here. And another great one right here is you can get 2 building carts. So you can unpack them into a blacksmith, you can unpack them into an archery range, whatever you want. And you're going to get additional ones every time you age to another age. So let's do this one. And you can see you got a building cart right here. You got 2 of them rather. And you can go with a racks, a dock, stables, archery range, or a blacksmith. Then the next lineup, you can go with Muscovy Yasak. I probably pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. Or you can go with Relikovus. This one here will give you an extra 200 wood per minute, which is pretty good. But it's reduced because if you make a heavy cavalry unit or a heavy infantry unit, you're going to get +2 ranged armor. every time you get +2 ranged armor on one of your heavy units, it reduces it from the 200 wood per minute. Okay, so it's a kind of a little bit of a trade-off, but still it's an excellent, I believe it's an excellent age-up option, especially if you're going for a really strong timing attack with Torguds right off the bat. Now, the relic ovus is also nothing to scoff at, right? Every time you get a relic, you can transform the relic into an ovu. And on top of that, you can get an extra plus 20% gather rate on all of your ovus. So this is pretty crazy right here as well. Okay. And then last but not least, for age 4, you can get stone armies. So you're going to have an abundance of stone at this point, especially if you went for relic ovus. And you can use this to produce discounted units, right? And I'll show you them in a second. Or the other one is Yam Network Trade. So the golden tent will generate 10 gold every 10 seconds for each fortified outpost you have, up to a maximum of 6. So you can get 60 gold every 10 seconds, which is insane, right? So it's about 60 times 6. Excellent age 4 option right here as well. But let's just go with the stone armies. And you can also see from the other landmark how you got additional building carts, right? So tremendous value there as well. But now you see you can make Karash at 10 stone a piece. That's so cheap. You can make Kipchak archers for 100 stone. You can make Keshik for 220. And you can go with the traction trebuchet for 250 as well. So let's compare this, right? If you were to make Keshiks right here, right? So this one right here, which costs 220, you get 2. Here, you'd have to pay 400 resources for 2, right? So it's significantly cheaper. I would say even here, the Kipchak archer, 50 stone a piece, right? For 2 Kipchak archers, especially once you get that upgrade, which we'll talk about in a sec. This is an insane landmark option as well. Both of these age 4 landmark options seem really good. So just one other note, when it comes to roost tributes, you can reduce this cost down substantially if you were to make a lot of production buildings. As you can see here, it's going down by a significant amount every 30 seconds, and at some point it's going to be free. When it's free, then you're going to get a ton of free, just 4 units for free, and these units are nothing to scoff at, which we're going to look at. Why don't we just look at them right now? So if I were to scroll over and put my Excel spreadsheet here, and we were to compare just the base Roost Tribute unit, let's compare this to the Men-at-Arms, right? So Roost Tribute versus Men-at-Arm, let's go right now and see how that goes. Okay, let's go. You can see in terms of cost, the Roost Tribute is significantly cheaper, 87.5, right? And it could be even cheaper than that, or it could be free, right? Depending on how many production buildings you make. HP wise, it's way better, 200 versus 155. Lower armor though, so it's 2x less melee and then 1x less ranged. Attack is the same. Attack speed is way lower for the Roost Tribute. And you can see that DPS is way higher for the Roost Tribute, along with its bonus versus cavalry, which the Men-at-Arm does not have. It has better movement speed, and overall, I just think this is a better unit, right? Look at the DPS per cost is higher, the HP per cost is higher. It's weaker in terms of armor, but in the last age 4, this could be a significantly better unit. Like, look at this, look at the stats right here if you go to this landmark choice, right? And look, I just got a batch for free. I just got 4 Roost Tribute units for free because the cost is being significantly reduced because I built so many Raxes. And I just want to show you guys one quick thing, right? You can see here the timer's going down, and every 30 seconds I'm going to get free units. So we have 10 seconds left. I just want to show you how much lower it goes because I built a ton of Raxes and a ton of military production units, buildings rather. So from 350, it's going to go down to 280, and it's going to happen every 30 seconds like that. So make sure you guys use this bonus. All right, so let's look at all the different technologies you can get for the Golden Horde. I made a list right here. Everything that I can think of and everything that I went through is right on the screen in front of you here. The Khan debuff arrow, we already talked about it. It's 300 stone, pretty cheap if you ask me. Reveals an area for 10 tiles, and then enemies receive an extra 10% damage in that area. You can get this in H2. Rotation grazing, we talked about it, extra plus 10%. Remember, this is 10% on anything inside the stockyard. You don't get this on just regular sheep that you herded on the map. All right, increase supplies. This improves the production speed of military buildings by 50%. That's huge, 50%. And it's 400 stone, okay? Roost tributes, we talked about it. Initially, it starts off at 350, but this can be free if you have enough production buildings, right? So, and then it gives you those 4 units. Great little bonus for the Civ. This is your bread and butter. You have to get this technology as fast as you possibly can. The reinforcements for the racks, the stable, and the archery range, you get an extra free unit. So if you're making 2 Keshiks, you get 1 for free with no additional cost and no additional time on production. You guys need to rush one of these as soon as you can. It's so good, right? You got Battlefield Salvage, which is the Karash, get an extra +2 armor and 25 extra health. So the cannon fodder units are getting even better in terms of their tankiness, right? And this is, I don't think I put the H4 one in here, but this unit gets really good once you start getting these upgrades, right? You got triple shot. Now this is also, I think it's borderline OP. I'm not sure just yet, but if you get this and the Kipchak Archer fires an additional 2 shots at 50% damage, minus 50% damage, the bleed, you're going to get 3 times the bleed on that, right? So one Kipchak Archer, I checked it, it was roughly doing like 52 damage on just any unit. 52 damage on 1 shot. Given it is over time, but a player with good micro, and if you spread these units out and you distribute the damage well, these guys can be an insane unit. So something to keep an eye on. All right, we got Uvo gathering rate, which we talked about. Overgrazing, we talked about. This is really cool too, the padded armor. So this is going to be one of the best horsemen in the game, right? You're going to get an extra +2 armor and 20 health on your horsemen, and the Torgut are also going to get that. So the Torgut are already so tanky, and it's just going to be even tankier with this. All right, we got the Sarai Lancers, and we're going to come back to this. I want to compare this to the Mongol version. Glorious Charge, we talked about it. It's 400 stone. Anything in the right column here, sorry, I didn't put it right here. This is all stone, all right? This is wood, this is gold, but this is all stone. So most of these technologies cost stone, all right? Earthen core walls, nothing too fancy here, just makes outposts a little bit better. And Uvu Ceremony. So these are all good. And now the one I want to compare it to is the Keshik one from Mongols. So if we go up here, so we're going to look at the Steppe Lancer versus the Sarai Lancers. I probably said that wrong. I'm sorry. And do we see any difference here? Let's take a quick look. So the Steppe Lancer is more expensive because this one costs stone. Gives an extra 1. So same in terms of healing and same in terms of attack speed. So they're kind of the same thing. But now Sarai Lancers also give it to the Torgut, which is, once again, this unit is already good. So now it gets healing on top of that. So the Torgut can be a very, very good unit if you get all these upgrades, right? So a lot of different technologies. And now I'm just going to finish off this video, put everything together. Let's watch a replay of one of my best friends and one of the best players in the game, Puppy Paw. All right, so here we go. We got Puppy Paw playing the Golden Horde, and we have Wham01 playing the Tugluk Dynasty. All right, so let's see what Puppy Paw's build here. We're going to go a little bit faster. But you can see that Uvu is the first thing that Puppy Paw does. He puts the rest of his villagers on food here. Alright, so we got 7 on food. And he's just doing his little scouting pattern. Golden tent near the town center. By putting it close to the town center, you reduce the amount of walking time needed. So it's definitely a great option. Alright, so we still have 7 on food. And now he's going to put the third one on gold. So we have 6, 3, 8, 3. So we have 8 on food, 3 on gold. And I'd reckon the rest of them just go straight to food at this point. And he's almost getting ready for his age up. And here we go. And he went with the same thing, Khan and Turguts. So he's also doing the same, similar strategy. Now he's keeping 7 on food. He has 5 on wood, right? And 3 on gold. Here we go with the Gur. He's putting down his Gur on his wood. Still 7 on food. And all of his new villagers are going straight to his wood. I would like to see hand axe if possible here because, sorry, not hand axe, wheelbarrow. There's going to be a lot of walking time involved. You can see the archery range goes down ASAP. And now he's going for his stone cropping where he's going to throw down an Uvu, which he does. Once again, the Khan comes out immediately, followed up with some Turgut. So he opted for hand axe first. And I think logically it does make sense because there's not that much walking time just yet. It's when you chop the first layer of trees, that's when wheelbarrow becomes a lot more important, right? However, saying that, these villagers are going to need to find another food source at some point. Most likely he's going to transition them onto hunt, and that's where wheelbarrow actually becomes more valuable. The Khan is in. The Khan is looking to do some economic damage. He found the berries, just doing a little bit of idle timing there. And he wraps around the back with his scout to see what else is there to do damage on. So he's doing two fronted raids here. One Khan on one side and the Turguds on the other. Turguds go in with a nice raid. And one villager almost goes down, but not quite. But the idle time is still definitely really good. Here we have some archers in the mix. They're going to counter the spearmen, and they're also going to allow you to target the villagers on the woodline, which is excellent. And one village does go down. Another thing that you guys need to, as I said in the video, to keep in mind is this Khan is a little bit low in terms of HP. You can send one Turgud back and heal him up, right? So another great option there. The Turgud are so good when it comes to sucking up arrow fire, so running into your opponent's base is not that bad when it comes to the Turgud, so excellent option there. And the archers are there to take care of the spears. And now he's kind of suffocating him. He's keeping him kind of split between his main base and his secondary base. And Wham would retreat with his villagers. A lot of great picks coming off right there. So you can see this is mostly Turguds, which cost only stone, and a lot of archers, right? I mean, the Turguds cost a little bit of food as well, but mostly stone. Alright, so now the elephant is in the mix as well. And he's being relentless. He's fighting on two different sides here. And I think this one right here is going to be the nail in the coffin for Wham. But no, Wham reacts pretty well. Great micro. But forget about all of this flashy stuff that's happening over on this side of the map. Let's go and see how he's managing his base, because this is the most important thing. You can see since he has map control, he's taking hunt uncontested. He doesn't even need to put his tower down. In terms of the great golden tent, he's putting it on the production speed edict. So what that means is he will be able to make these a little bit faster. However, he doesn't have a fortified outpost, so it's not going to work in that regard. He has wheelbarrow, he has hand axe, and he has survival techniques because he is on food on both sides right here. Okay, and this one he did put up a fortified outpost. So if you're going to get map control with this civilization, you want to be able to get a lot of hunt and use all of your external food sources, right? So yeah, so that's just a quick and easy little review, a rec review from Puppy Paw. Obviously, Wham didn't play his best in this game. I think he screwed up with everyone is screwing up at this point. The game is still too new. We're still learning. All of these builds are going to change. All of these strategies are going to change. But I hope this is enough to get your foot in the door and to get you playing the Golden Horde. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. If there's anything I missed, feel free to put in the comments section below so that others could learn from that as well. And let me know what you guys want to see next. Thank you for watching and take care. Bye.